Hey, it's Joel here from cosinesound.com.au. Thanks for joining me today. So, in this video, we'll be exploring the ring modulation technique a little further with voice processing. So, it will be further expanding on the techniques demonstrated in the previous video, but more so with sound shaping with wavetable and additive synthesis. If you'd like an introduction to the basics, please check out part one. Start out, we've got my voice currently running through the audio in of this oscillator, going through the mod uh, module, which is not mixed in yet, but as I mix in the balance, you'll hear that effect coming through. So that's 100 hertz ring mod tone with a, if I show you here, a strange additive wavetable that I mapped out here. So yeah, that's an amplitude mod signal, but I can mix in the ring mod signal all the way. And to my surprise, or to your surprise, you might find out that still you can understand what I'm saying um, for the most part. It's funny how that works. I mean, can still we can't really make out the tone of the voice as we used to, because the tone has been obscured by the uh, harmonic multiples here in the modulator wave, but it still can make out some of the consonants or the sibilant sounds, because even the sibilant parts are processed and they still come out as a noisy signal. So if I just make a sibilant sound, you'll hear that it's still a noisy signal. It's not as sibilant as before, but it's still noisy. So here's a sibilant sound. So in that sense, it can still you can kind of make out what I'm saying. So ring modulation becomes quite handy to give a sort of like an effect to create an unfamiliar voice or a alien voice or even a way to obscure the voice. So I've found this additive pattern interesting, but a more subtler way to, if I just go back, a more subtler way to obscure the voice a little bit is to do this. Use just one harmonic. So now we're listening to just the 100 hertz modulation. It's interesting because this is the fundamental frequency of my voice, so it's kind of seems to work kind of well. I can also try 50 hertz like so, um, and you can hear the 50 hertz sub harmonic. If I bring back my original voice, you can make out that my fundamental frequency is around 100 hertz. Bringing back in the uh, modulation like so, uh, it seems to fit kind of well into that tone there. So that's that example. I can also try another sub multiple 25 hertz. But let's go back to 50 hertz and I'll make a humming sound. So if I just hum a tone and demonstrate how the ring mod comes in when I change the frequency from 0 hertz upward to 100 hertz. So here we go. Interesting. Very creepy alien sounds. Did I mention that it sounds quite alien? Well, again, much like in the first videos, you notice that the two positive and the negative sidebands come from the increase in the mod frequency. So at 0 hertz, the difference in the sidebands is 0 hertz. As we move up in frequency to 25 hertz, the difference in frequencies is 25 hertz on each side of the harmonic, for example, the fundamental harmonic. So now the fundamental harmonic of, let's say, 110 now has, I just freeze that. Let's say 110 hertz was here. Now there is 135 and what's that next one? The next one will be 85, for example. So given that that happens for every harmonic, um, another example is uh, to remember what happens with ring mod is that we have the mod wavetable. So if we add in harmonics, for example, 10th harmonic would be up here. We now add a collection of harmonics up. That would be the 10th harmonic of 75 hertz should be 750. So that's 750 hertz. So as you can see there, we've got we do have some kind of gap there. That's come out. So 750 hertz there. But what we're actually listening to is the original 75 hertz modulation as well as the 10 hertz modulation. So if I take out the original the fundamental harmonic, it now becomes more of a nasally sound. And whereas if I add the 20th harmonic, that will come up to, should be double that. So that's 1500. So that's come up about there. And if I just check that again, so 75 times 20 is 1500. So as we mix in more harmonics, as we mix in more harmonics, they actually are additional clusters of frequencies. So here's another example. So if I go, let's go with 50.
Let's go with 500 as the fundamental, and then add some upper frequencies and see how we like the sound. So that's kind of interesting because now the central frequency is about, what do we say, 500. So the central frequency will be around here. And as we mix in more harmonics, they definitely shape the tone there. I think one of the main points is that these upper harmonics become very loud, so noticeably louder than in the original voice. So if we use, for example, 36 harmonic of 500, that's equal to 18,000 hertz. So it looks like that would be about here. If we change that to 500, yeah, so that's 18,000 there. So yeah,
What we notice is that if I change back to the original voice, the original timbre of the voice takes a normal slope where actually if I change spectrum, the original spectrum looks more like a sawtooth kind of pattern where it's like um, starts primarily with low frequencies and then um, decreases in amplitude as we go up the scale. So the lower, I might say, the higher the frequency, the generally the slightly biased lower amplitude.
with the Ringmod we have much louder harmonics that can come through, so especially once I do this, we can see that they become extremely loud, so these harmonics relatively, given that they're all basically the same height as each other, so these come out apparently a lot louder. So if we use the same idea and have like a low slope like this, then it shouldn't be as pronounced in that sense.
So what we find is that lower frequencies are kind of more growling type sound. So if I take this down to like 35, it's very growly, and especially with the upper frequencies, all the partials are reflected in the fundamental frequency of the mod. So all of these partials are integer harmonics of the mod frequency. So yeah, Ringmod can be quite handy to create some obscure special effects where the voice becomes warped or distorted. You can create alien voices. This is just a static mod frequency as well. So there's also obviously changing the pitch of the mod frequency to give a more sort of random mod like mod frequency. But yeah, experimenting's always. I'm sure there's plenty of other techniques. If you have some cool techniques, yeah, link a video to this, and we'll check it out. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and hope you found this interesting and helpful. And I'll see you next time.